Yo, what's up, guys? We got another video here. We got a DLC prediction slash what I want slash what I think we'll see in Tears of the Kingdom. So this is just based off of what we got in Breath of the Wild and what we kind of have when I played through Tears of the Kingdom. And I was like, oh, that'd be cool as DLC, or that seems similar, that could be DLC, or, you know, blah, 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 whatever, right? So we're going to get right into it. It's not too many ideas, but I think some of these might actually come true, or I think you guys could maybe just agree that they're kind of, like, cool, but let's go. Alright, so first things first, the video will kind of have minor spoilers for, like, story, but not really, so don't worry about that too much. But the first idea, or ideas, will be, like, building Tarrytown stuff. So I got a note here. And so I have, if you've been to Tarrytown, you know it's like the whole village, and it's being built. You know, in the first game you built Tarrytown, but now it's even more expanded in Tears of the Kingdom. And so the housing, Link's house is there. And so when you build Link's house, you have 15 buildings that you can do, right? And I feel like with that building, if you've done that, you should be able to maybe change the roofs or change the walls, because when you pick a building, say it's a 1x2, so a rectangle, so it has two walls and has a back wall, then the two front part, they're just open, and you can't really configure that for any of the building options at all. It's always the set thing. I feel like you should be able to configure that, and the roof as well. Maybe open up the roof or add like a slanted roof, I don't know, or just give us a roof option potentially. So I feel like that would be one big thing, as well as like having different types of buildings. So maybe you can like display armor, because you can display your bow, your sword, and your shield. So I'm like, why not have the armor sets? Because you can do, you know, an armor set, or maybe have a thing that you can do one whole armor set instead of just like a single piece for each stand. But I don't know, that's just some, you know, like slight stuff that is very easy to add, quote unquote, very easy. But along with other Tarrytown stuff, I think maybe further expanding it. So the Tarrytown not part that's on like the circle moat, it's like on the ground where you have the quest where you can, you know, race and whatnot. I feel like they could maybe expand that to make it even bigger, unless, you know, they're gonna make a third game and they'll make it even bigger then, even though I don't think they will make a sequel to Tears of the Kingdom, a third one. I highly doubt it, but I feel like they could maybe expand that a bit, add some quests to make that, you know, something new. I know it kind of changed the whole landscape of that area, but I just feel like it's kind of in building mode, and since we probably won't get another game, it probably will never go further than that. So I don't know. That's another thing. Well, other than that, that's kind of like just some housing ideas, maybe, you know, some quality of life things with the housing and whatnot. Nothing crazy, but I feel like that's just kind of easy and simple they could throw along with a DLC pack. So along with that, we have one major thing that I feel like is kind of a given, which is the Master Mode and like Trials of the Sword. So Trials of the Sword was in the first game, same thing with Master Mode. And Master Mode was just a harder difficulty where you only had the 3 hearts, I think, and I don't know the other parameters. I didn't actually play it myself or beat it, but most likely they'll add Master Mode in this. I think it also gave you access to more shrines, which gave you access to the final 2 hearts to, you know, have all 20 hearts or whatever it is, or 30, whatever it was. And then also with that, the Trial of the Sword, which was like a 45 like layer, 45 level like trial you would do. So it'd be like a boss rush, kind of like enemy rush thing, where you just do all 45, and if you get to the end with the given materials they give you, then you get the better upgraded Master Sword. And so I feel like they can add definitely something like that in Tears of the Kingdom, even if it's just like, once again, rehashed Master Mode as well as the Trial of the Sword. I would, you know, they'd obviously switch up the trials, but something like that would just be fun, because that was super enjoyable in the DLC pack, and I really did like that. You know, it added a nice challenge. It was something a little different, and I kind of like those, you know, boss rush modes. I know people are indifferent about it, but I feel like they could definitely do something in regards to the Zonai, maybe, right? You know, you have like the Zonai constructs, you fight the 1, the 2, the 3, and then maybe you have, you know, the bosses that you fought, like your Colgera and the Zora Domain one, whatever it was called, and, you know, the Gibdo one. They could do that too, or they could do new bosses or new enemies, right? So I feel like Master Mode is like a guarantee, and then the Trial of the Sword, there will be some maybe reiteration of that, which would be really dope. But other than that, another thing I got written down right here is the Zonai Story DLC. You know, the first game had the Champions Ballad, which added like some extra cutscenes and some flashbacks, so you could hear about the champions and Zelda and what Link, you know, did with them and whatnot. And they were really emotional. I remember I cried, I think, when I watched all of them. But I feel like they could do some Zonai, like Sanya Rauru, you know, backstory DLC something, maybe. I know we had the memories. Yeah, the 11 memories, and it shows you, or the 12 or the 13, and it shows you, you know, Sonia, Rauru, all the sages. You know, you get, I think, a nice chunk of story content and just information about everything, especially with the side adventures and the lore and the Hyrule texts. And so I feel like there's a nice amount, but I do kind of wish there was more Sonya Rauru stuff. Maybe one more than the other. I guess Rauru is kind of in the game a lot, so maybe more Sonya, but just the Zonai in general, like, it was such a cool concept, and obviously it's used highly throughout the game. It's the shrines, there's a bunch of temples, and there's so much Zonai shit, but, like, I really feel like they could maybe have the Zonai civilization before it came down to Earth, or maybe something, like, as it is about to come to Earth, and maybe there could be, like, a temple or a boss or something we have to do to, like, help them. Since we have the recall ability, and in the story, right in the beginning, you see the sword go back in time to Zelda, right? That's not really a spoiler, that's literally after the first tutorial island. So I feel like they could do maybe like a portal or a gate that we walk through, right? One of like the Ouroboros looking Zonai gates you walk through, or you touch it and it sends you back in time with the recall ability. It's totally possible they can do some time shenanigans where you can get sent back. Just because, you know, it happened in the main story, why couldn't they do it in a side DLC story that wouldn't really affect the main story, right? It's just off to the side, gives you a couple extra items, couple of extra, you know, flashbacks and intel. Not intel, it's not Call of Duty, but like information about the overall Hyrule, the world, and everything, right? So I feel like that's entirely possible, and that would be really cool. I don't know the specifics of what it would be about, or exactly when it would take place, or whatever, but I feel like just that concept in general would be pretty dope, and I feel like most people would agree, just because, you know, always more tribes and the Zonai and whatever other tribes they mention, like the Pose, which kind of gets me into the next thing. If you've been to the depths, you've seen the statues, right? There is 4 different types of statues, maybe I guess 5. So there's the Pose statues, which are like these massive dudes with, like, they look like they're from Metroid, and they have like the pointy hats with like the 4 eyes. It's 6 eyes, maybe, yeah, 4 or 6 eyes, whatever it is. And like you talk to, they give you Pose, and it's probably just something, you know, like the depths, like lore statues that talk, because that's, you know, how it works, right? But I'm wondering, like, is there more behind them? Is there, like, a tribe, or is there a group of people, or is it related to the Sheikah? I don't know how it works. Maybe something touching on that. So there's a part of the depths called Gliok Den, and you'll just find it's just a giant Gliok there. But it has the 4 statues in the corners, and so these statues, they kind of look like, you know, like the Gorons and the Zora and like the Hylians. And so it might just be them, like, super long ago. They don't look like the sages, but it might just be, like, super, you know, old versions of them, or just, you know, statues or something. So maybe I'm reading too much into it. But they have those 4 statues. One of them is also, like, kind of broken. We could do maybe something about that. Like, you could get more info about that. And those tribes or people or groups of people or descendants or whatever that, you know, occurs, or when it occurs. Because it's not really touched up on the game, I don't think. Or at least I didn't find. So that would be interesting, and I feel like it's also totally plausible. There's a lot of stuff, you know, residing in the depths that I feel like we could get more explanation on, or just more expansion on. Not maybe the area, since it's absolutely massive, but more expansion-wise, just like lore. And you're like, okay, they add an extra, you know, thing in the sky or thing in the depths that you can go get, and it sends you back in time, and it's a new little area, or it sends you straight to a temple, and you have, like, another temple to do, because I would love another temple, maybe more Zelda, you know, original Zelda Ocarina of Time style, where it takes, you know, at least an hour or 2, maybe. And, you know, you can't just, like, bullshit your way out of it like a shrine. You know, it's proper, like, here's a room, here's a couple of rooms, here's some boss keys, you know, small keys, whatever. I feel like they could definitely do that as well. But, yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it for some of my DLC recommendations. Just, you know, quality of life stuff, having the extra heart. You can get 40 hearts at the end of the game, or have 38 with 3 full stand bars. So I'm assuming if there is a DLC, which there probably will be since the game is sold absolutely insane numbers, we'll get those extra maybe 8 shrines. And each shrine will have something, maybe backstory related to the Zonai, or once you get the 8, you'll get the 2 extra hearts, because of the Light of Blessings, and then from there, you can also maybe get a temple unlocked. I don't know. I imagine Master Mode's basically a given. If there is a DLC, Master Mode will be added. Same thing with the 2 extra hearts. Same thing with the Trial of Swords, some sort of iteration, or maybe some sort of thing with armor, or maybe it's not the Master Sword, maybe it's something else. I don't really know. But I feel like that's some good ideas. If you guys have any other ideas you thought of, or any other story stuff, maybe just quality of life improvements, or items, or locations, let me know. Who really knows if there'll be a DLC? We don't know. There was 2 expansion packs for the first game, and they were pretty cool. I don't think they were anything, you know, breathtaking, Breath of the Wild, but it definitely enhanced the game, and they added some quality of life stuff along with some, you know, more clothes and armor, and, you know, like Xenoblade 2 side quests. So we could maybe get a Xenoblade 3 side quest. We could get some more random Nintendo IP side quests, but who knows? Other than that, Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If there's any other ideas, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys later.